How to use Be My Eyes as a blind or low vision user.
Hi, and welcome to this Be My Eyes tutorial. My name is Cecilia, and I'm Communications Officer at Be My Eyes, and I'm here to take you through how to use Be My Eyes. If you still haven't downloaded and signed up for Be My Eyes, check out tutorial 1 where I take you through the download and sign up process. But let's get started. On the Be My Eyes home screen, you have 4 options: Call First Available Volunteer, Specialized Help, Settings, and Stories. Let's start out by taking you through Settings. In Settings, you can change your profile information, including your email, your password, and your name. You can change your primary language or add secondary languages if you speak more than one language. Be My Eyes will always try to connect you to a volunteer speaking your primary language, but in the rare case that there are no available volunteers speaking that language, we'll try to connect you to someone speaking your secondary language. In Settings, you can also send us feedback, check out our FAQ, read our terms and privacy policy, share and rate Be My Eyes, and connect with us on our social media platforms. Going back to the home screen, you have 2 call options. You can call a volunteer or specialized help. If you press the button, Call First Available Volunteer, you'll be connected to one of the many Be My Eyes volunteers. Most calls are connected within 30 seconds. You'll be connected to a volunteer through a one-way video connection, which means that the volunteer will be able to see what you point your rear-facing camera at. The rear-facing camera is the camera on the back side of your phone. Be My Eyes only has access to your rear-facing camera, so if you want to, for example, film yourself, you'll need to turn the back side of your phone towards yourself. Here are some examples of situations where the Be My Eyes volunteers can be helpful. For reading expiry dates, for matching colors, for reading labels or letters, for reading off computer screens if screen readers are inaccessible, for describing pictures, for finding lost items, and much more. There's also a few tips that you can follow to make sure that your call goes as smoothly as possible. When you get connected, briefly explain the task to the volunteer so they'll know what to look for. Accommodate the directions that the volunteer gives you, as they might need you to move the camera or the item to be able to locate the information you're looking for. Also make sure that the room is properly lit. If it's still too dark, the volunteer can turn on your flashlight. Make sure you hold the camera steady so you can get a proper focus. If you have an item in your other hand, it might help to place that on a steady surface. If both the camera and the item are moving, it can be difficult to get a proper focus. If possible, make sure your environment is not too noisy so you can clearly hear the volunteer and the volunteer can hear you. Also make sure you have a good internet connection, as a poor connection can result in fallouts in the call. After every call, you'll enter the call rating. If the call went smoothly without any problems, you can rate the call as good. But if you experience issues, you should rate the call as problems, and you'll get a list of different options and where you can choose the one that best describes the problem that you experienced. You can rate the following issues: poor video or audio quality, no video or audio, call ended unexpectedly, other technical issue, inappropriate behavior, and volunteer couldn't help. If none of these describe the problem you experienced, you can also contact our support team. All cases of inappropriate behavior will be reviewed, and a breach of our terms will result in the user being blocked. Back on the home screen, choosing Specialized Help will take you to the Specialized Help menu, where you'll find partner companies and organizations that you can call through Be My Eyes. As an example, you can call Microsoft if you need expert assistance with a Microsoft product. A Specialized Help call works just like a regular Be My Eyes call, except that you'll get connected to a company representative instead of a volunteer. When choosing a company or organization from the Specialized Help menu, you'll get to the company profile. Here you can see information about the service that they offer, their opening hours, and supported languages. From the profile, you can make a call directly to the selected company or organization. Remember that Be My Eyes is free to download and free to use. You can make calls at any time of the day, and you can make as many calls as you want. The service is 100% anonymous, which means that the volunteer will not receive any information about you. They'll just be notified that someone needs help, and if they choose to answer, you'll get connected. That means that the volunteer has actively chosen to help you, and you should therefore not worry about bothering anyone. In fact, the volunteers are very happy for the opportunity to help out. You should now be well aware of the possibilities you have with Be My Eyes and ready to conquer the app on your own. If you have any questions that were not answered, please try to check out BeMyEyes.com or send us an email at info@BeMyEyes.com. We hope that Be My Eyes will be your new go-to tool and that it will help you out in your day-to-day life.